Okay, first off, two things. One, I gotta make sure if I'm doing these videos that I stay at one spot because the last video I talked about Tia Mowry. I had myself moving around a lot, and I usually don't do that, but I don't know what the fuck I was doing. That happened, but I gotta remember to stop doing that. I know better. Uh, Two, this is gonna be a hot take. I mean, I really think this is going to be a hot ticket. I think this is going. I don't think this is going to rile people, but this is going to be one of those where it's just like, what the fuck are you talking about? So here it goes. I think fat phobia is a white woman's problem. Now, I feel like they're trying to put black women into it just because how can I say this? It's easier to put a black face on there for people to care. I think a lot of things when you put black face on there is for people to care, but a lot of times I think fat phobia is a white woman's problem. Now, why do I think fat phobia is a white woman's problem when most of the times, especially in the red pill community, you see a lot of people, especially like most red pill, when they talk about a big person that is not Lizzo, they call them a Lizzo sized person. Now, all the and then you be correct. If you see a lot of red pill, they'll say when they refer to a big woman, they call them a Lizzo sized person because you can't say fat, or I don't think you could write fat in the YouTube joint. So I think they substituted for Lizzo sized person. So obviously, when you think of Lizzo, and I think now in this generation, when you think of a big person, you think of Lizzo. But then but I think it kind of coincides with the video I had before when we talk about the type of big chicks men prefer. So, and I gave you the like five different types of big girl bodies where it came from, as small as Takara and as big as Lizzo. I'm sorry, as big as Lizzo. And in between, you also had Pinky, you had Queen Latifah, you know, shit like that. Shit like that. Now, with that being said, I've always said this: black men, we're more lenient. We don't mind a thicker woman. Matter of fact, it's just like um, it always here talking about Eurocentric standards, but if you ever look at black men, it's like I feel like we're the cause of this whole women being more hippie. They having more of a coke bottle frame. They're more because they're more of a you know people getting the BBLs to give them more curvaceous looks. It's just a more who that's black people. Now black women has always been a little bit more curvy, which is why, like, I say, do you think this is why a lot of people think the BMI is racist or is talking about white people standards because white people are usually that skinny. Now, I've been to Europe, obviously, and I know they do this in other countries too, but I'm speaking from my experiences when I've been to Europe, and I've said this before on other um, thoughts of a skin or fly videos that when I went there and I was at least a buck 90 back then. I was at least a buck 90, close to 200, and there was like some of the XL clothes was even tight on me because there are people who are smaller than that. It's just like you don't usually get a lot of muscle bound people. You usually get a lot of people that are small, and the women, a lot of their stuff is a little bit smaller. Hell, when I went to go try their food, a lot of okay, they're large, and I'm not bullshitting you. Maybe most people like this. They're large is our medium. So it shows how like our portions are big, so our sizes are different. So like a lot of things are meant for big people. So I'm looking at that. I'm looking at that. So it's just like, and this is when I was like a buck 90, 200, and I was in shape too. So it's just like, so I'm a buck 90, 200 in shape because I was in the military. Now, but what makes you think it's a white woman's problem? Because every time I'm looking at this Twitter, and it was this thread, it was going on. I don't know who this actress is, but it was about, and I hope it doesn't make this shuffling noise when I do this. But there's two tweets. There's a tweet that goes into a tweet, but it was about um, I guess the woman from Bridget Jones' Diary. It's like this millennial woman has trust issues because we were told three. I'm sorry. I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna try to read this quote verbatim. Okay. Millennial women have trust issues because we were told for three Bridget Jones movies that this woman wasn't thin. And she's going to be my screensaver. So if anybody understands this, and maybe I'll look her up, and after I'm done, I will look this up. But you see this white woman in a bunny outfit, and she has a average body. And I'm not going to say she's not thin. She has an average body. Now, there's nothing wrong with her body. I am saying there's nothing wrong with her body. It's just very average. But a lot of white people standards, she was fat. But in a lot of Hollywood standards, she is fat. So when you look at a lot of this, and then you see, I'm looking at this thread, and this is coming from a white woman's joint where like they throw up a bunch of movies, um, and I'm gonna have this picture too because I forgot Anchel from Psycho 10, America's Next Top. It was like she was called fat, and a lot of people don't understand the model world. The model world, like if you're not a fucking size 2, you're fat. Period. Regular worlds. There's regular worlds, and then there's model worlds. And model worlds are very. Their model world is very Eurocentric. Now, like you're seeing, like more models. They're a little bit more thicker. They a little bit have more of a figure. They have a little bit more waist. But and like most of the times in the back of the days, or the supermodels that are you could like the most the most you'll see is a Tyra Banks, and Tyra Banks was curvy. She was skinny, she was tall, but she was curvy, and that's like the that was it. But other than that, if you was bigger than Tyra Banks, you wasn't really deemed as a supermodel. If you told people you was a model and you look bigger than Tyra Banks, people would laugh at you just fuck out of here, fatty. And I'm pretty sure she was called fat. I remember like even during her Tyra Banks in the Tyra Banks show, she was called herself fat. But I think she was comparing herself to Eurocentric standards. A lot of black people, she's fine. There's nothing wrong with her. It's the same thing I said about Takara. It's like Takara was considered back then BBW. She was fine. But again, times change. So like we're most of the early 2000s, especially late 90s. And I think it might come back to Heron Chic. I think that's what they call it, Heron Chic, where like super skinny might be back in, and a lot of celebrities come like Kim K like got rid of her BBL. Courtney got rid of her BB. I think they said not Courtney, but Khloe Kardashian got rid of her BBL. So they're more of a 80s look, the real skinny look. It might be going back to that. I'm not sure. I'm not a woman. But those are all Eurocentric standards. Now, this era, I feel like the BBL era, it's more of a hip hop era because as you could tell, since like if you look at most of our women have different body shapes. They're all, and none of them are like super fat, but it's like if you look in the TVs, they're not super fat, but they look fine. They have a shape to them. They got figures to them. A lot of them they're a little bit curvy. They're not skinny like a Jennifer Aniston. Like Jennifer Aniston's like in Jennifer Aniston during Friends, and I think even now she still maintains that same shape, but especially during that Friends era, a lot of people wanted that type of body, especially during that time because that was the kind of body you can get. Even during the '90s, like you had Jada Pinkett, she was super skinny. She was also like 5. She's like 4'11", 5 foot, some shit like that. She's a little tiny thing. Um, uh, Naomi Campbell, stuff like that. And a lot of those and a lot of women that falls into that Nia Long. Um, she was skinny, but she also had a figure on her. She a little obviously with age, she's a little thicker now. She's still a good. Not saying nothing bad about her. She's still a good. But the thing about this is just that a lot of these are Eurocentric standards. So a lot of the fact now with black people, we have always pushed it. But as black people, we always said, you know what? When we look at someone like I said, Queen Latifah. Queen Latifah is if we like Queen Latifah. Queen Latifah looks good, but according to what she was talking about in the Red Table Talk, she was technically she's morbidly not morbidly, but she's considered overweight. And Queen Latifah is just like, I don't feel overweight. I feel good. A Serena Williams, and even though she is built like a brick house, like a Greek, she is built like a brick house in a good way. Not saying anything. She's just muscles, booty, cut, muscle, booty, everything. It's like you don't see women, white women like Serena Williams. Obviously, that figure is, even though like that figure is more, you see that morally on black women. So there's another tweet on here that, shoot, I hope I didn't make that. But she was talking about, and I seen this many of times. This is not just her tweet. I just seen this. Actually, this tweet is like a year old, but I guess it just resurfaced. They body shamed Cola Ray for being skinny, Megan Thee Stallion for being tall and strong, Sweetie for having plastic surgery, and Lizzo for having fat. I'm starting to think there's no way to occupy the body when you're a woman. Now, the woman's name is Habiba Perez. Now, like I said, this came out in 2021. This tweet is old as fuck. So, and it was talking about how like people make fun of her. First of all, and I say this a lot, this is Twitter and this is the internet. Anything gets made fun of. Any The world could be coming to an end and niggas will make a joke about it. So for one, this is why people tell people, get away from the internet sometimes. You'll realize that sometimes when you get out the internet, niggas ain't really like that. Most people do this for show on internet. But it also shows you that anybody can fucking get it. Like these are four, especially like in the face. These are four very beautiful women. No one ever denied that they're not cute. Some people may not be a fan of Lizzo, but not a lot of people gonna say, yeah, she. I mean, I could speak. Um, a lot of people, not gonna. I'm not gonna say a lot of people gonna turn Lizzo down, but in the face, Lizzo is very attractive. Even I said that. She may not be my type, but she's very attractive. I wouldn't pursue it, but she is very attractive. I never denied Lizzo not being attractive, but it also shows that anybody can get it. Doesn't matter if you're super cute or super ugly, because a lot of people think that if you're ugly, you usually don't want to get it. And I'm gonna tell you this: if you're attractive, people do not like getting made fun of, because if if you're attractive, they feel like you don't have that much room to make fun of. You ever make fun of someone that's really attractive? It really fucks them up. It's just like, damn, they making fun of me. It's like they usually don't know how to handle it. Now, most people that usually a little bit uglier or been made fun of more, they know how to take it. They may like it, but they know how to take it. So to a point where you've heard jokes before, you even got retorts for it. It's just like, dog, I've been. It's like I've a lot of them would say like, you gotta come better with that. I've heard all the, yeah, I've heard all those stories. You gotta come better with that. I think that a lot of this is a lot of people goes to white women standards. Now, especially when it comes to weight, the size twos, because those are all technically Eurocentric standards. Now, obviously, Meg, Coyle Ray, Sweetie, and Lizzo, four different body types. No one never said that they, but a lot of people would make fun of them. It's just that, oh no, we got jokes for them. That's all it really is. It's nothing more. Don't take it much more serious than, oh, we just got jokes for them. But but also not just refuting their bodies, but a lot of them do make, because I'm pretty sure there's always one or two jokes about the bodies, um, but a lot of people they make fun of them for other reasons, especially Coyle Ray. Coyle Ray, she's a weirdo. So is Lizzo. Lizzo. People make for I go along with people make more fun of Lizzo's attitude than her body weight, even though her body weight is up there that people can't make fun of. But like I said, Jill Scott is also big. People love Jill Scott. Jill Scott slimmer than she was, but even when Jill Scott was at her biggest, people fucking love Jill Scott. So it's not, you didn't hear a lot of people making fun of Jill Scott or saying Jill Scott size women, but Lizzo, yeah, because of her, not even the fact that she has this attitude of a bad bitch, but sometimes her attitude is just that, she's easier to poke fun of. Saweetie, you're like, it's more or less of a rap. People make fun of her of a rap of her songs or some shit like that, or like she eats like a fucking slob. Like she can have her own mukbang ASMR channel, the way she be fucking eating and all that other shit. So Meg Thee Stallion, and I love Meg. I'm a big fan of Meg. Depending on if you ever follow her stories or if you're a Tory Lanez fan or something like that, there's other reasons why people don't make fun of her, especially like a lot that I'm not going to get into in this video, but people have made fun of her for. But not saying that none of these women are like not fuckable, especially or like people wouldn't shoot their shot at them. I think people would shoot their shot at all of them. Even Lizzo, like I'm pretty sure dudes would shoot the shot at Lizzo, especially when ain't nothing wrong with a big girl. We're the main ones. It's like ain't nothing wrong with a big girl, a little thickness, a little handles. It's like the whole thing about the is the whole I'm gonna crush. She need to crush my skeleton with all that gelatin and all that shit. That was a black voice. That's not a white man's voice. And then most of that trend, and like I said before, on that the type of girl big women before, it's like most of that trend was like black men doing it. And like most of that trend, I think it was mostly black men. Now, yes, you have your Kirstie Allens, may she rest her, may God rest her soul, but she was also skinny at one point. Um, your Roseanne, but oh shoot, your Roseanne, and even she's lost weight. Your Kelly Osbourne, she was big, yeah, but and then she done lost the weight, and who else? Just other fucking big ass white people. Yeah, you got those, but even then, a lot of those people, with the exception of Sharon Osbourne, a lot of people they're in comedy or comedy shows, so it's like they're like a dime a dozen to where even Melissa McCarthy and the white British girl that is not Adele, she done lost all that weight. And cause even she was like, she was just tired of being that big, and so she was wanting to do something. So a lot of those, it's like you don't see people making fun of them, or like you don't see no Roseanne size women. I don't know if I'm making I don't know if this proves my point or not, but Like they have those, but a lot of those women, even them women, they end up trying to lose weight themselves. But I do now. With that being said, how does I do feel like everything is. This is the only time I really use Eurocentric standards because a lot of those BMIs is doing by a white man. Now, as black men, like I said, we're more lenient, especially when it comes to big ones. Like my father, he like big girls. My father always been into big girls, like naturally. I know people that were into big girls. It's like that will choose a big girl over a skinny joint. And hell, even in our society, it's just that I know dudes that's like in shape that look like built like Morris Chestnut, go chase after big girls. Different type of body. It's like whatever floats your boat is usually, but I think the ones that really, really, really talk about it are the now the one thing the big girls they do, and I admit they do this, and that people do this, just like oh, y'all don't talk. They don't really talk about getting with fat girls, but because and yeah, that is true. That is true. It's just like they like big girls, but they don't like being seen with big girls. So a lot of big girls they feel like they get hush hush because I'm not gonna lie to you. It's just like some of y'all they feel like I think there's this whole situation of big girls having low self esteem, and if you just with a girl, she may or may not have low self esteem or some shit like that. I think that's more or less a self esteem issue, in which that's weird, but I don't know. I've seen, but also I've seen black women of all sizes attract many different types of men. Now, even the girl that was just like she was like making fun of those bodies, it was just like she's gorgeous. But a lot of those shows where even like the white shows where the cheerleaders, they're like they're just like they're not even fat. They could be like a little bit wide. Oh, fatty. Look at it, fatty. I've always looked at it as a white people problem. It's like I remember like they tried to do that with Countess Vaughn in the Parkers, and during that time it was just like she's not that big. It's the '90s, but Countess Vaughn was looked at as the big girl. Now she's just not that big. She was just short. I think she was just short, and she had to deal with that weight problem. Now she's always been like round. I'm not gonna lie. It was like, and even then she was thicker than other people. But if you seen her on the Parkers, it's just like now you look at it, it's just like she ain't that big. You look at her, it was like Monique was big, but you looked at her, it was like, yeah, she ain't that big, and she was still like getting people. She was people was dating her too. Um, but I don't know. I guess times are changing. I think people look at uh, I think a lot of people looking at Hollywood and those old movies from different views is just like, oh, that's fat. I want to be that. So it's just like you think you're fat. That's what I want to look like. You have the body goals I want to look like. And I feel like that's mostly white women. It's just like because black people, even though they talk about the body types and all that shit, a lot of them don't really. We don't really care. But thing about black people is we make fun of everything. So anybody can get it. That's the thing about black people. White people, they're not used to that. It's usually white jokes are more mean spirited, but black jokes, we just like fucking with you. So that's another thing why I think like fat phobia is more of a white woman's. Like I said, never stopped Monique from getting married. She's been married twice. Now, I think married twice, but never stopped Monique from getting people. Like I said, I've seen big girls of all sizes, motherfuckers. Now, you think, you know, now we looking at the red pills and, everybody's like, a fit feminine women, all that stuff. It's just like, what is fit? What is feminine to you? Fit. You just got to ask them if you're, most people part of red pill is just like, what is fit and feminine? Now, even though they probably want to fit and feminine, they'll deal with, like I said, a Queen Latifah or a Jill Scott or a Takara. They'll deal with that. There's like ain't nothing wrong with that. Hell, like the woman, I did it there. Hell, the woman with the tweet I read about the full body. If you look at her shit, she's thick, but it's all put together. That like no nigga is not turning that down. If you look at, I don't want to put her like I don't want to put her business out there, but I'm telling you right now, if you go through that woman's Twitter, which I did before I even did this video, and maybe it might be different in the Latin community and all that stuff because most Latin women are than most Asian. Like I said, Asian cultures is just like they're fucking real thin. Uh, if you ever look at Asian women are usually like fucking thin, pale and thin, and some Indian cultures, they have a little hippie, but most of them are thin too. But black people, like I said, women of all sizes, it's always been accepted. It's just like even in regular fucking life. But I want people to understand: don't let the movie star shit mix with your regular shit. Even though like the BMI is the BMI, and a lot of people don't agree with it, but and this is not really like it's to support anything. I'm just giving my opinion on it. But yeah, you like what you like, and I guess I can end it there. Like what you like. Ain't nothing wrong. I guess ain't nothing wrong with what you want if you like it. So women, I would tell this. Like I always tell people, fuck with people that fuck with you. If there's a society of men that will handle your big ass, then show them niggas love. Obviously, they genuinely like big women, so go ahead and fuck with them. If there are people that genuinely like you for who you are, you should give more appreciation to them. But that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Until then, my name is Oskino Fly, and I'm out. Peace.